Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video, I'm mainly just gonna go over one stock. Now, I'll probably talk about some other ones because you know me, I always talk about other stocks, but this one, oh my gosh, we had some crazy news, which I'll get into in just a second, but you probably saw it in the title of this video, so I don't think it'll be too much of a surprise. But this stock on that news ran over 800% in one day. And because of that, I had my best day in at least like 2 months, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe since March when I had like a $9,500 day. Today I made $5,800 day trading, and it was just absolutely glorious. And here's the best thing yet, guys. This stock closed right at the high of day, like literally right at the high of day. It was a FOMO session going into close, and I'm pretty sure based on how it closed, this thing is gonna make an attempt at continuing to run tomorrow. And if it ran 800% today, is it gonna run 800% tomorrow? Probably not. But is there a decent chance that this thing could double tomorrow? You know, have a 100% run? Yeah, we've seen charts like this before. So I'm gonna show you guys some of the previous charts so that we can know what to expect on a day 2 move of a crazy supernova stock like this. And it should just be a lot of fun. So come along with me for the ride. Let's dive into my computer and we'll talk about these charts. All right, guys, so here my laptop, and this is the chart for WSRC. And what is so crazy about this is the fact that this is one of those runners that we haven't really been getting in this particular month. You know, recently, OTC market has been like kind of overall. There's definitely been some stocks that have been running, but overall, it's been nowhere near as good as February when we had a lot of stocks that did this pretty often. And because of that, this was very surprising and incredible to see. And I just want to look at the press release. You guys can see this is the crazy news, guys. So the press release is Western Sierra Resource Corporation, again WSRC, enters talks to acquire majority stake in a gold mining operation with enhanced recovery net income projected at $3.2 billion. I mean, that is insane. Now you can go and read that whole thing if you want. I'm not going to, because here's the thing, guys. I could not care less about the fundamentals of this company. I literally am incapable of caring less about the fundamentals of this company. What I care about is a press release that says $3.2 billion in net income, a majority stake in that company. That is what I care about, and clearly that is all you need to care about, because in the past, guys, we've seen some pretty outrageous claims from some penny stocks, and I normally don't trust them at all. And honestly, I don't really trust this one at all. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, because if it causes it to run, we can make a lot of money off of it before it comes crashing down. So I forget what the exact ticker was. You can actually go and look through my videos if you want. There was some company that put out that they had like 700 million in assets and like nothing in liabilities, something like that. And they were like a 2-cent stock, and they ran a ridiculous amount on that. They ran from like 2 to, I don't know, like 80 cents or something in one day, and then they came back down. So that stock is just a good example of you shouldn't always believe what these OTC companies tell you. So do I think a stock that was 2 cents yesterday or a couple of days ago is really gonna be acquiring a majority stake in a company that's really gonna have $3.2 billion in net income? We're not talking revenue, net income, profits. No, the answer is no. I do not believe that at all. But here's what I do believe. I believe that this could easily have an explosive day 2. And if you guys are not in the Discord yet, and you've missed this stock, you're missing out, guys. I first bought this stock at $5.99, and I talked about it there. We had a lot of guys buying it here in the 6s, and some were more patient than me. You know, the way I trade these is I am very skeptical, and I always assume that these are crappy companies, and if I buy it up 100% on the day, it's going back down 50% the next day. So if you look in here, when I'm buying it at like right here, you know, 6, I'm taking profits at 6.6. That's a 10% gain. I am happy with that. If you do that over and over, your account is going to grow exponentially. And again, Wall Street says 8% a year is incredible growth for an account overall. So if you get a stock where you get 10% growth in 5 seconds, you should probably take it most of the time. But here's the thing. This is one where it would pay to be more patient on, but you know, I wasn't. There wasn't a great base, and it had surprising strength all day, and unfortunately I wasn't able to hold any shares and take huge advantage of that move, but I was able to make a lot by just getting in and out with relatively small size, guys. And again, we had a lot of guys do really well on this in the Discord, so if you're not in the Discord yet, definitely check that out. The link is in the description. But here's the biggest thing that I'm looking for tomorrow on this stock. So you can see, I guess you can't see because I don't have VWAP on here, but essentially what happened was it was extremely strong, kept making higher highs, never made any lower lows until right about this point right here. And you can see that it did actually break down and make a lower low. And when it did that, obviously, you know, there was a nice big red candle because it had never done that pretty much all day up until that point. But after that, it was able to find a base right around VWAP. And again, you can't see here, but that's pretty much the only indicator that I use, variable weighted average price. And if I had a line here, you would see that it would be right about in this area. And it bounced perfectly off of VWAP, which is very normal on these runners, you know, kind of late midday. And then it went and closed literally at highs. It made new highs right before close and closed right at those highs. So this is a very, very strong close and indicates to me that there's a decent potential for a gap up tomorrow, which again is where the stock would open, you know, 27 cents or something like that. I think there's a decent chance that that happens. And I also think there's a decent chance that this continues to run tomorrow. Now, am I going to buy it at 25 and hold it blindly thinking that this thing is going to the moon? Absolutely not. If you buy at 25, this stock will probably be back under 10 cents within the next couple of weeks, if not sooner. So I would not buy and hold at these prices. What I would do is look to capitalize on whatever volatility is going to happen tomorrow. So I want to go look at right now just some of these other charts to see, you know, what is the potential that could happen if we get a chart like this. So BPSR was an explosive first day move, guys. It went from 5 cents all the way up to, you know, 35 cents and closed right at the high of day. So what can we expect on a stock like this? Well, let's go back and look at the intraday charts. And again, I've done this before, but I just want to show you guys. So what day was that? That was on 4/28 and 4/29. So again, you go to on demand, go to the 1 day chart. We go to 4, which is April 28th and 29th. Let's go to the 29th. Get all the 29th in there. So what can we expect out of this chart? I mean, they look extremely similar. They look extremely similar. This thing started low, ramped up, kept making higher highs, higher lows. When it finally made a lower low, broke down here, it bounced probably around VWAP, came back up and made a new high right into close. And what did it do in the morning? Well, it gapped up fairly big, but it ended up selling off right into open, had a little mini panic. But here's what I want to prepare you guys for, because I think it could very, very easily do something very, very similar. And again, it gapped up, it panicked, but it bounced right off of that red-green level. So right around where it closed, and then just absolutely ripped past where it gapped up to originally, and ripped past that, and went on to continue running, and you know, held those lows, never broke down below that, never went red on the day at that point, and kept making new highs. Kept making new highs, and eventually set a high here and came back down from that. So my biggest plan on this would be to see if we can get a gap up. If there's any type of sell-off right at open, I would look to dip by that, risking this red-green area, hoping that it stays green on the day. Because if it gaps up and there's a little mini dip, it could easily dip from the current levels, or I guess from the gap up levels down to the red-green area, and then see a nice bounce, rip past those highs. And I mean, if you get in on this move from 36 cents all the way up to 53 cents, I mean, you take just 10,000 shares on that move, and that is a $1,500 gain, guys. So keep that in mind. These are incredible opportunities to make a lot of money, even with small size. And if you take big size on that, WSRC. If you take big size on that, guys, you can make a ton of money. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not probably going to take big size because there's a lot of risk. You know, say this thing gaps up to 30 cents, right? It closed at 25 cents. Say it gaps up to 30 cents. Panics down to 26 cents and looks like it's bouncing. I would start taking entries in that area, hoping that it's going to bounce and rip past 30 cents to go to 35, 40 cents, 50 cents. That's what I would like to see on this. And if it can't do that, you know, you're risking the fact that this could break down, break under 25, go to 24, 23, 22, and if you're stuck in a market sell, suddenly you're getting out at 22 with big size and you lose a good amount of money. So it is very, very risky. And this is not something you can buy at 25 and hold, because if it has a red day tomorrow, you can probably bet your bottom dollar this thing's going below 14 cents. So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. But there's a lot of opportunity to profit. This thing could easily run. Now, I want to pull up the intraday chart for MDMP real quick, just so you guys can see what this one looks like. This is honestly an even more insane chart. So this one started at 1.2 cents. I mean, this is just mind-blowing, guys. This has the absolute craziest 2-day chart I think I've ever seen. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And let's see what day that was on. That was on the 10th of March and the 11th of March. So let's go back to that day. I think that was the day where I made $9,500 on MDMP. I'm almost positive. So let's go the 10th and the 11th. March 10th and 11th. Let's go right here. Let's go one day. So again, pretty similar, guys. Pretty similar chart. So if you look here, it does kind of a similar thing. So it does gap up and it does sell off a little bit right into open. But it does not break down below these levels where it closed at like 26. So it actually doesn't dip down all the way to, it actually just dips down to 28 and then rips and goes on to rip even higher. So you got to be aware of that. You might not dip all the way down to the red-green area. So that's something to look for. But just be aware of that. And I think the reason for that is, just to explain psychology a little bit, is there's people who overnight this stock that's up 800% on the day and they're thinking, shoot, this is really risky. If I get a gap up, and it goes from 25 cents to 33 cents, that is a really nice gain overnight. If you took 10,000 shares, you just made $800 overnight. So most people who held this overnight, I guess not most, but a lot of people who held this overnight are selling right at open to lock in those gains on the gap up. So we have to be prepared for that. You can't buy right here at 33 because typically it's going to sell off if there's a nice gap up because it was already overextended and people were just hoping for that little extra oomph. So you got to be aware of that. But this is the type of chart that we could get, guys, if it really, really blows the top off. Now, this was right kind of in the peak of the heat, still, I guess, not February, technically. This was in March, so maybe it's not going to run this hard. But I think, there's the chance that, what's the ticker? WSRC breaks 50 cents tomorrow. I think there's definitely that chance. Now, I'm not saying for sure it does that because it could easily fail, go red on the day, and be under 15 cents by the end of tomorrow. So there's a lot of range in this stock, but that's what I love. We trade stocks with volatility, and we have the opportunity to make a ton of money. So when it's ridiculously strong, guys, you just got to chase. And the way that I trade this, again, if you were in the Discord, you heard me live, taking my entries, taking my exits, taking profits when I'm trying to dip buy, etc. So you kind of know this already. But what I look for is, I look for these kind of aggressive entries because especially on a stock like WSRC where the fills are really, really bad for most brokerages. I've heard TD Ameritrade is not that bad. I heard it's decent fills, but on E-Trade, on Fidelity, it's trash. So you got to watch out for that. But when you're looking for these fills, you got to be kind of aggressive. So you got to buy before you're sure it's actually bouncing, and you got to put your limit above what the ask price is if you want to have any hope of getting filled. Otherwise, you're not getting filled. So you got to be a little bit aggressive, and you got to sell into strength when you have it. And if you just do that over and over, when it's strong, when it proves that it's not breaking down, just chase. Chase with small size, and then take your profits. That's what I do, and it works out pretty well. I might not make as much as someone who buys and holds all day long, but I definitely do it a lot safer because if you buy and hold something that's up 800% one day, you're just asking to get dumped on. So hopefully you found this helpful, guys. There's definitely some other stocks we could look at. Maybe if you want to look at GGII, the intraday chart on that one, just to see what that looks like on day 2 or day 3. Maybe let's look at this one for what is that? May 7th. All right, let's look at May 7th on GGII. May 7th. I guess we gotta go over the weekend. Let's do this, just so we can see what it looks like. All right, so this had a nice little run. So they don't always dump. I guess they don't always dump. Maybe it just depends how much it gaps up. I'm not sure why this doesn't give more information. Just 4 and 5. That's really annoying. I would like more information than that. 5 point what? 4 point what? But this is an example of a chart that does gap up and does not immediately dump before it runs. So, sometimes I guess they spike up, they gap up, and then they just run right at open. So it's good to know that. It's good to review history and see what happens. And this is just like one of those ridiculously strong charts where it cannot break down, keeps pushing new highs. So pretty impressive, man. I guess this is an example of a stock where, it does, this is, I guess, between day 2 and day 3, where it does gap up and it does sell off, but doesn't break down below and then keeps running. So keep that in mind. That is what's typical, but it doesn't happen every time. So these are the types of insane runs we can get in OTC land. Absolutely love this stuff. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'm forgetting, but these are just the ones I wanted to look at off the top of my head, guys. So all in all, this is my absolute biggest watch for tomorrow. Absolute biggest. I mean, A GGI, I actually did swing some of this just because it's so beaten down. This thing has literally dropped, I mean, you can see from 16 cents all the way down to 1 cent. And it pretty much drops straight from 2.5 cents all the way down to 1 cent with no type of bounce. What is that, the 8th straight red day? So there's a chance that it breaks down, but I feel like it's decent risk reward from this area, taking a little bit as a swing. So we'll see what happens. It may try to fill this gap here, you know, between 9 and 8. So we'll see what happens. But you know, I took some as a swing just to see if it can pop back up. So I got 300,000 shares. I may cut it if it breaks under 1. I may add some if it breaks under 1. I'm not sure yet. Still haven't decided. But you know, it's down a lot. So I figured it was worth a stab. There's that. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So biggest focus for tomorrow should be WSRC, TRCH if you're into listed stocks. This one just got absolutely dumped on today, and I didn't trade it at all. I didn't even attempt it. The only other real stock that I traded today was GOFF, and you can see here absolutely insane volume spike. George Sharp tweeted about this one, and I bought. I don't even know how many, bro. I got so lucky on this trade, and basically just because they moved the ask down somehow right when George Sharp tweeted, so I was able to get like I think like 70,000 shares, something like that, from an average of like, I don't even know, like 20.2 or something, and I sold pretty much all of them at 22. So epic trade there. I mean, I must have made, I don't know how much I made. I really don't. I mean, I think I made like 1,700 in like a minute and a half or something like that. So that was a great trade. I'm upset that I missed the other one, EVLI. He also tweeted about this, and I didn't get a notification. So I missed this one. Would have been a great runner. I mean, spiked over 50% in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So if I'd been on that one, probably would have made another $5 on the day. But is what it is. No woulda, shoulda, coulda. So that is my day today. Hopefully you guys found this recap helpful. And yeah, let's be ready for tomorrow, guys, because it's going to be exciting. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.